Ani, welcome. As a visitor of this territory and as the program head of kinesiology at the University of Guelph-Humber, I want to acknowledge and honor the Indigenous nations and the Indigenous people that have lived and passed through these lands. We recognize the land on which we gather today has been and still is the traditional territory of several Indigenous nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, the Métis, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Let us remember as stewards, we must care not only for one another, but we must also care for the animals, the birds, the insects, the plants, and the land. We are grateful for the opportunity to celebrate together on this land. Miigwech. Thank you. Let us all take a few moments for personal reflection and thanks. We are fortunate to live in a country where, relative to much of the world, we enjoy freedoms, security, and prosperity that so many others do not. Therefore, I ask that we respect the various spiritual and faith traditions represented in this room with a short period of silence to mark the opening of this convocation ceremony.
I officially declare the opening of this convocation ceremony. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is George Bragas. I'm the Associate Vice Provost Academic, and I have the honor today to be among those to deliver greetings to you. Chancellor Chambers, Senior Vice President Antonacci, Provost Chapman, faculty, staff, parents, family, friends, and of course, the graduands. Welcome to Convocation for the classes of 2019, 2020, 2021. It is finally happening. We are here in person. As you all know too well, this is our first in-person convocation in 3 years. So it's been a while. And I could not be happier to see you all live in the audience and not within a frame on my computer screen. It is so wonderful to instead greet you today in the physically non-distant way that human beings have expressed their social nature from time immemorial. Needless to say, the last several years have been unprecedented. But to one extent or another, you have all successfully navigated the multitude of obstacles and challenges that the pandemic threw in front of you. Part of the significance of this event, besides giving you a chance to celebrate in person something you were denied because of the pandemic, is to recognize the unique sacrifices you've made in reaching this point. Sacrifices that none of us on this podium had to make when we were completing our university studies. And while we cannot overlook how the pandemic impacted your experience, we should not let it make us forget what your accomplishment as university graduates essentially represents. One of the primary missions of the university is to promote human flourishing by helping each of you become enhanced versions of yourselves, more skilled, more thoughtful, more knowledgeable, more socially conscious, and most importantly, more empowered to contribute to your communities than you were when you started your university studies. By officially, because you've all already received your degree and diploma, but by officially or in person, by receiving your degree and diploma today, you have all demonstrated your own human flourishing as a person. Of course, that project of self-enhancement doesn't stop here. Indeed, you've already been flourishing as individuals as you've been pursuing your careers or pursuing further studies. And we here at the University of Guelph-Humber look forward to hearing about, and indeed boasting about, your accomplishments. And though human flourishing is always a work in progress, today is a good day to take stock, reflect, and focus on what you've accomplished up to now. For each of you in the classes of 2019, 2020, and 2021, this is a significant juncture in your lives, which we are here to honor and to applaud. So enjoy the ceremony today, and I hope you have a wonderful time afterwards celebrating this achievement with your family and friends. And at this point, I'm going to invite Dr. Mary Ann Chambers, Chancellor of the University of Guelph. She will also be providing greetings, and then she'll be followed by Dr. Gina Antonacci, Senior Vice President, Humber ITAL. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It really is wonderful to see you here. I know some of you have waited a long time for this. Well, consider it a pass on resilience and perseverance and patience. You'll need a lot of that as you go through life. It is a pleasure to be here today with all of you as we celebrate the journey of the amazing graduates from the University of Guelph-Humber, an incredible partnership between two great institutions, the University of Guelph and the Humber College Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning. So yes, my name is Mary Ann Chambers. Last week I was installed as the Chancellor of the University of Guelph. But that does not describe who I am, only the latest stop on my own journey. I am a daughter of the Caribbean island of Jamaica. Almost 46 years ago, my husband Chris and I chose Canada to be our home, the place to raise our two young sons. I made a commitment then, as I do now, that we would be good for Canada and Canada would be good for us. I see that as entirely consistent with the University of Guelph's commitment to improve life. The scope of that, the needs, and the opportunities are limitless. They are local and they are global. And they are as equally relevant to you as University of Guelph-Humber graduates as they are to the graduates in Guelph or Ridgetown, and indeed to everyone in this room today. Consistent with the objects and purposes of the University of Guelph Act of 1964, being the intellectual, social, moral, and physical development of its members and the betterment of society, the university also applies a definition of sustainability adopted from one established in 1987 by the World Commission on Environment and Development, which states, sustainability means meeting the needs of today's generation without compromising the needs of future generations. At its broadest scope, it encompasses economy, society, and environment. We're designed to be social beings. We were not created to live in isolation of each other. It should not require a crisis for us to recognize that we are essential to the well-being of each other. Whether the program of study that you chose to pursue was business, family and community service, social services, early childhood studies, kinesiology, media studies, justice, or psychology, you have crucial roles to play in addressing issues that are essential to the quality of life we all seek to enjoy. Matters of such magnitude, with their broad implications and consequences, call for the attention of the brightest minds, your minds, from every academic discipline. If we imagine the various ways that we might define quality of life as human beings, it becomes obvious that there are connections, collaborations, and partnerships required everywhere. Graduates, graduates, you are building upon a foundation established by high achievers from every college of the University of Guelph and every part of the Humber College Institute of Advanced Learning, of Technology and Advanced Learning. I hope you have a sense of what is possible. I want you to aspire to greatness. Most of all, I want you to make your lives matter because our world truly needs you to do that. The world should be a better place because you have lived. So as you embrace the pleasure and satisfaction of these moments and look with optimism and courage towards the next chapters in your lives, I wish you continued success. And I ask that you remember how you have gotten to this point. I am thinking not about how hard you have worked, really, but about those who have cared so much about you and have often made significant sacrifices to enable you to dream big and hopefully to improve life for yourselves and for others. This would be a good point in time to stand and applaud those who have supported you along the way. It's really important to remember that we accomplish very little on our own. So remain close to the University of Guelph-Humber and the University of Guelph. These will always be your alma maters. Be very proud of that.
Chancellor Chambers, members of the Platform Party, honored guests, faculty and staff, family and friends, and especially our graduates. It's my pleasure to bring greetings from Humber College to the graduates of 2019, 2020, and 2021. You know, I've been a part of many convocation ceremonies in many roles, as an administrator, as a faculty member, as a parent, and as a graduate myself. And each ceremony brings that same pride of achievement, the joy of success, and the excitement for the new beginnings and possibilities that await the graduates. To the graduates, welcome back. Welcome back to the University of Guelph-Humber. You did it, and you have graduated with 2 credentials and the strengths and benefits of both a college and a university education. You've worked hard, persevered through challenges that none of us could have predicted, and as a result, you are better poised than any other graduating class to be a part of a world of work that is much different than it was when you first began to work on your degrees. And as Chancellor Chambers has said, the world needs you now more than ever. We need you to continue to be confident and courageous as you step into a future that will present uncertainties and challenges, as well as far more opportunities for growth and innovation. Continue to use the skills that you have learned as a student and as a scholar. Think critically, continue to question and challenge. When you were a University of Guelph-Humber student, you were a part of a highly diverse and inclusive institution. Continue to embrace diversity in all of its forms as you move forward. And finally, I hope that you will reach back, that you will use your privilege to support and empower those who will come after you. You leave here today with the ability to make a difference in the world for yourself and for others. We are all so very proud of all that you have achieved. You have proven that you can do remarkable things, and we can't wait to see what you do next. Good luck and congratulations.
Good afternoon. I'm Gwen Chapman. I am the Provost and Vice President Academic at the University of Guelph, and I am delighted to be able to share this special occasion with you. I'm also very pleased to introduce our next speaker, Dr. John Walsh. John Walsh is currently the acting Associate Dean Academic at the Gordon S. Lang School of Business and Economics at the University of Guelph. But of particular relevance to today's graduates, from 2006 to 2020, John served as the Vice Provost, Chief Executive, and Chief Academic Officer at the University of Guelph-Humber. During that time, the university grew existing programs, introduced new programs, including full distance options for degree completion by working professionals, and expanded experiential learning or experiential workplace-based education. Prior to working at the University of Guelph-Humber, Professor Walsh served as the Dean of the Australian International Hotel School in Canberra, as Associate Dean of the Faculty of Management and Director of the School of Hospitality, Food and Tourism Management at the University of Guelph. With the creation of Royal Roads University, John was the principal author of the first education plan for the university, acting as Vice President Academic and President, overseeing the introduction of undergraduate programs in business and graduate programs in leadership and environmental management. John has also served as an advisor to the Ministry of Advanced Education and Training in British Columbia, where he facilitated expansion of apprenticeships in the film and motion picture, aerospace, and hospitality industries, collaborating with employers, colleges, unions, and industry sector councils. Dr. Walsh holds a BA in Political Economy from Thames Polytechnic, London, England, and an MBA and PhD in Business Administration from the Ivey Business School at Western University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. John Walsh.
Well, at last you're here. Congratulations. Chancellor. Dr. George Bragas, Associate Vice Provost, Dr. Chapman, Provost and Vice President Academic, Dr. Antonacci from Humber College, members of the Board of Governors, Programme Heads at the University of Guelph-Humber, distinguished guests, platform party, faculty, staff and graduates, and your guests, it is just great to see you. Chancellor, it is a privilege to be invited to address Convocation as you begin your first year as the 10th Chancellor of the University of Guelph. And I have attended many convocations, nearly 50 here at the University of Guelph-Humber. But I have never actually given a convocation address here. So this is a first for me too. And I have to tell you, no matter what your experience is at convocation, when that phone rings, it's more than special. In fact, come on, I feel absolutely great to be invited, right? The voice at the other end of the phone says, "We would like to invite you to give the convocation address." Now, I would never embarrass a member of the university staff by saying who that voice was. It was, of course, Susan Thomas. But we just keep that amongst ourselves. Convocations don't just happen, you know. There's a huge amount of planning that goes into it. And she and the team and the registrar and everybody at Guelph-Humber work so hard to enjoy occasions like these. I don't know if you've ever got a phone call like this, but if you do, I don't know what you do, but I know what I do. I immediately call family. In fact, I called my daughter. I would like to tell you something about that conversation. Guess what? I said, which, if you think about it, is not a particularly useful question to pose to anyone. But my daughter knows me well and loves me to pieces, and I love her. She replied, What? I said, I've been asked to give the convocation address. Great, she said. I know, I said. I should tell you that my daughter is a pretty practical and logical person. What followed was the following words, her next sentence. What are you going to say? Well, that slowed me down a bit, even after all these years, I must confess. So I said, well, I haven't really thought about that. To which she said, you should. Do you know what follows? Quite a difficult time. My first port of call is YouTube. The defining experience of being asked to give a convocation address when you feel great is that you have to realize you have to say something. YouTube. Well, it's depressing. You can start with Hillary Clinton and keep going if you want feelings of great inadequacy. And don't bother asking the university what you should say. The reply that I got was, whatever you like, we're sure you'll think of something. Sometimes luck just happens, doesn't it? Inspiration struck. I attended a recent conference at the University of Guelph, actually, and listened to a presentation by Perry Bellegarde, I'm sure a name well known in this room, former National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, and he was speaking about leadership. And part of that presentation, far more eloquent than I, he talked about the importance of ceremony. Well, I can talk about that. I've been to 50 of these things. I can talk about ceremony. And that's the theme for me for a minute or two of your lives. Ceremony marks events and transitions that are important. Ceremony has structure. It transcends all kinds of cultures and societies, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It is the architecture of our thoughts that mark, as the Associate Vice President said, that marks achievement and accomplishment. And that's what we're doing here. We're at a ceremony. It's why you have come back, because the ceremony itself is important. It is a public announcement of achievement and a celebration of accomplishment. So what achievements and accomplishments are we actually talking about anyway? Mastery of content in your various disciplines, of course. All academic programs have structure. But what do you think we carry away? Well, when you were admitted to the university in whatever year, you met me. And I told you 3 things would be important. And I also said that at your graduation, I would remind you of them. A promise made, promise kept. The first thing that you actually learn is how to work hard. You worked hard before you got to the university. That's what got you into the university. You worked hard while you were here. And now, in your various professions and careers, you are still working hard. People are not born working hard. It's a skill. It's a discipline that you learn through practice and repetition. You are excellent at that. But it's not enough. Let me echo the Chancellor's words. Very few things are achieved on your own. One of the things you have learned is how to work in teams. People are not born naturally working in teams or groups. It is a skill, a discipline that is learned through practice and repetition. Just think of all the group work that you have done during your own program. But that's a skill. And in the workplace, in your various careers and professions, you will see that and have seen that over the last couple of years in living Technicolor. Some people develop that skill to an extremely high level. You are some of those people. The ability to work with others to achieve goals that are significant, to make your lives matter, the lives of your colleagues matter, the organizations to which you belong matter, requires teamwork. And the third thing I asked you to do, all those years ago, was to enjoy what you're doing. That's not just a throwaway comment. If you are going to commit parts of your life and the lives of your family and friends and colleagues to goals, make sure that those goals reflect the priorities and values that you have. Plus, having fun at what you're doing is infectious. Others will notice that. You have already in the workplace turned to one another sometimes and colleagues and said, wow, she seems to really like this work. Well, that is important because it will also sustain you through the inevitable ups and downs of life as it rolls forward. So, in the last few minutes, I've managed to welcome our 10th Chancellor, answered my daughter's question about what you should say by shamelessly stealing someone else's idea, which, by the way, you will notice I attribute, so there is no charge of plagiarism whatsoever. And I have played my part as you are now playing yours, and all my colleagues behind me are playing theirs, as an important part of a ceremony that marks your achievements. And let me finish by shamelessly copying our Chancellor and say, thank those that have sustained you, and you in turn should thank those people who have helped you on this stage and at the University of Guelph-Humber. Thank you. I enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you, John, for those very inspiring, insightful, and engaging words. And now, the time you have been waiting for so long has come. But first, I'd like to pause and recognize the unimaginable obstacles you have all faced in getting to this day. None of these obstacles were anticipated when you started your studies. Everything changed on a moment's notice, and the pandemic took away some of the most special and important moments in your life, moments like your in-person convocation. Today, we celebrate not only the official marking of your graduation, but the courage, persistence, and strength you demonstrated to accomplish your degree and diploma under such circumstances. It wasn't easy, but you did it. You never gave up, and you have made all of us proud here at the University of Guelph-Humber, as well as your family, your friends, and supporters. As a demonstration of how proud we are, I'd like to ask all our platform party members, guests, and staff to rise, and please join me in a standing ovation for our class of 2019, 2020, and 21. Graduates, now the moment has arrived. Please rise. Chancellor Chambers, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph and have graduated from their various and several degrees with all of the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby acknowledge the various and several degrees granted with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the academic requirements of Humber Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning in their respective programs and have graduated from their various and several diplomas with all of the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
I acknowledge your various and several Humber Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning diplomas granted today with the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining hereto.
Will the graduates please be seated? There will be 8 groups of graduates this afternoon. I would ask that you withhold your applause until the end of each group to ensure that each graduate's name can be heard clearly. At the end of each group, we will expect some truly thunderous applause from friends and family. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business Administration Honors and to the Diploma in Business Administration. Brandon Anthony George Aitken, with distinction. Christopher Azim Ali. Miriam Awan. Jaslinda Kaur Baines, with distinction. Japreet Kaur Bajwa. Nicholas Balkasoon. Kishani Bhaskaranathan. Arandeep Singh Burya. Jose Roberto Cabrera Morales. Julian Caponia. Nicole Chichi. Tanisha Garg. Taranvir Kaur. Lakhvir Singh Kosa. Navidika Kathis Warnathan, with distinction. Alexander Levy. Lissa Mataccioni, with distinction. Alexander McKee. Ronak Mistry. Ashay Nayak. Emmanuel Noche. Melissa Ann Perry. Justin Pileggi. Anil Ryan. Serena Rathor. Ali Raza Barlas. Mishal Sheikh with distinction. Daman Deep Singh with distinction. Janika Smith. Sabrina Nicole Spagnolo with distinction. Vishali Srikumar with distinction. Aaliyah Stone. Riddy Taylor. Renee Christine Wong. Franco Zuccato with distinction. And that was the BBA class of 2019, 2020, 2021. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Early Childhood Studies, Honors, and to the Diploma in Early Childhood Studies. Chantel Dennis, with distinction. Sarang Dalma, with distinction. Samira Jiwa, with distinction. Michelle Johnson, with distinction. Ashley Organ, with distinction. Asya Qureshi. Ariba Rashid, with distinction. Kirsty Redmond. Nigat Afshan Salim, with distinction. Era Emma Slonwhite, with distinction. Alyssa Smith. Stephanie Tang, with distinction. Brittany Walker. Amtul Wasay, with distinction. And that was the Early Childhood Studies classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science, Family and Community Social Services Honors, and to the Social Service Worker Diploma. Jessica Cardona. Allison Cheng, with distinction. Camila Nifa Gafour, with distinction. Jessica Haricharan. Sinitra Henderson, with distinction. Kennedy Hochel, with distinction. Amy L'Esperance, with distinction. Katrina Lowe. Bianca Martin, with distinction. Sophie Martin, with distinction. Kennedy Martins, with distinction. Michael Christopher McCrae. Maria Inez Prudencio, with distinction. Nicole Maria Shushkovich, with distinction. Jennifer Stanley English. Nicole Lynn Stewart, with distinction. Stefan Thomas, with distinction. Karis Walker. And that was the FCSS classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Kinesiology Honors and to the Diploma in Fitness and Health Promotion. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Justice Studies Honors and to the Diploma in Community and Justice Services or Police Foundations. Leslie Ann Enright, with distinction. Sabrina Grant, with distinction. Rudy Ann Thompson. And that was the BAA Justice Studies class of 2019, 20, and 21. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Justice Studies Honors and to the Diploma in Community and Justice Services or Police Foundations. Afifa Abazadeh, with distinction. Joshua Achaya, with distinction. Henna Alikuze. Amira Anderson Richards. Mezabi Balim. Julia May Beltran, with distinction. Japjot Singh Benipal. Victoria Alexandria Costa Duarte. Dallas France, with distinction. Chris Ashley Gary, with distinction. Novalyn Garrett, with distinction. Mark Gerges. Tama Hijazi, with distinction. Sarah Hillier. Carolina Janik. Yashleen Jara. Desea Joseph. Haria Katal, with distinction. Manur Khan. Hetty Lawrence. Nazma Yuritsa Martin Halsall, with distinction. Rajinda Mathru. Roshaya Mitu. Latif Muda. Aloha Narajos. Chase Odor. Rachel Odit, with distinction. Fatima Patel. Brittany Perpetua Pereira. Felice Gabrielle Pereira. Riley Daniel Perry. Ripton Ramsing, with distinction. Gurpreet Samra. William Santos. Ramadeep Sidhu. Cindy Solano, with distinction. Chitranki Srikanthan, with distinction. Jessica Tamayo. Thomas Trong, with distinction. Savikar Kaur Virk. Maimona Yousaf. That was the Justice Studies classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Now it's kinesiology's turn. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Kinesiology Honors and to the Diploma in Fitness and Health Promotion. Christopher Avery, with distinction. Milo Beal, with distinction. Alyssa Borromeo. Alex Bono, with distinction. Joseph Chalabre. Jennifer DeVries, with distinction. Samantha Gorgie. Allison Guerra. Christopher Corey Michael Haas. Farzana Husseini. Priya Kaushal. Ramneek Lali. Ahmed Ali Mohammed. Hannah Mary Gerard Papali. Mark Anthony Perez Riali. Luca Poitier. Cynthia Ramdani. Joseph Racinos, with distinction. Charlene Reyes. George Codera, with distinction. Stephen Sean Sultan Khan, with distinction. Abby Vivian, with distinction. Sarah Witecki. Patricia Zeppieri. And that was the kinesiology classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Arts Media Studies Honors and to the Diploma in Media Communications. Joanne, with distinction. Jewel Dakanai Balane. Maria Bambata, with distinction. Maya Bikku, with distinction. Alexis Bosanak, with distinction. Ashley Brown. Nicholas Buck, with distinction. Onisha Monique Dennis. Angelica Dimmerin. Tristan French. Zachary Guberman, with distinction. Christina Yamashia, with distinction. Netta Corcoran. Gary Levy. Samantha Haley Lindo, with distinction. Jessica Mamone, with distinction. Maya Marcus. Erica McAllister, with distinction. Claire McGarr, with distinction. Chelsea Moore, with distinction. Zion Olabumu, with distinction. Jaspri Panesar. Rhiannon Perrier. Arshel Quintero Poquiz. Megan Rupnerine, with distinction. Lovepreet Sahota. Thomas Skidmore. Lake Sweeney, with distinction. Sarah T., with distinction. Daniela Waterfield, with distinction. Kristen Wong, with distinction. And that was the Media Studies classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Chancellor Chambers and Senior Vice President Antonacci, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the University of Guelph-Humber that were admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science Psychology Honors and to the Diploma in General Arts and Science. Omnia Ali, with distinction. Rosie Arula Nandam, with distinction. Tara Camilleri. Angelisa Hatfield, with distinction. Amelia Masiashik. Shayla Tran Pham, with distinction. Daniela Silvestri, with distinction. Brielle Tan, with distinction. And that was the psychology classes of 2019, 20, and 21. Following convocation, a reception will be held for our alumni and their guests in the foyer. This is an opportunity to congratulate our members of the alumni family, and we hope that you can join us. In a moment, the platform will process out of the hall. We ask that you rise if you're able for the recession and remain at your seats until the platform has left the room. And at this time, I ask Chancellor Chambers to have the last word.
The last words are, convocation is dismissed.